Grizz Nation, welcome back to another Grizz Game Day update. It is the last home game in quite a while. Joining us from LA is Allie Clifton. Hi, Allie.
Hello, hello.
Good to see you again.
You as well, always.
However, the last time we played the Lakers, they snapped our 11-game win streak with a 1-point victory.
You don't hold that against me, right?
You know. Your team. I'm like,
oh, that's funny.
It was a very good game in January. We're hoping for another good one today. I think the big news, however, is that LeBron James will be out for a few weeks, starting with today's game, which sucks so much for this Lakers team.
Yeah, it really does. I think for a team that was so excited for the stretch run and to see what they could do, try and make some noise. You know, you make those moves at the deadline. The roster feels balanced. The guys are gelling. And it's just like they take another hit. And it's a big one, obviously, with LeBron, not just for what he does in terms of scoring and his ability to just command such a presence on the floor, as we know, but I think too, when you think of like the long haul and you think of the run in which you're trying to make, he's such a focal point to all of that. And that stability is something that they're going to miss. And when you're trying to, I think too, Kelcey, like, you know, this as a former player, when you're trying to bring pieces together and do it in such a short amount of time, every rep matters. And not to be dramatic with it at all, but that's the situation, the reality that the Lakers are in. And so to see how they're going to respond is something that I'm looking forward to, and what that looks like. It all starts tonight, and it's not easy because you look at the stretch that they have coming up, starting with Memphis. There's nothing light on their schedule.
Yeah. And just what you alluded to is they've gone 2-0 since All-Star, since making some trades, since getting that roster refreshed a little bit, coming off a huge comeback against Dallas, which you would have wanted to have that momentum rolling into tonight, where the Grizzlies coming off kind of a statement win against Denver, the best team in the West right now. With LeBron out, AD is probable right now. D'Angelo Russell is doubtful as of right this second. Who do the Lakers look like you said, he commands such a presence. He is the leader. Like who steps up now in his place?
To your point, obviously listed as probable, I'm going to lean into Anthony Davis playing. And so with that, it starts with him. I think so much of the offense should and can be run through Anthony Davis. And when he commands that from the jump, I think that puts the Lakers in a really good position, especially offensively. I think it also engages him and activates him defensively. And we certainly know the presence he has on that end of the floor. But I think so much has to run through him. But I also think it's not just Anthony Davis. You can't put all the pressure on him. I think you've got shooters out there on the floor. You've got capable scorers, capable threats. It's going to have to come as a collective. I think sometimes that can be overused, but it's the reality. And so guys have to play their role great, but maybe give a little bit more during this time until they figure out what's going on with LeBron. But they certainly have guys in that locker room and enough in that locker room to still give themselves a chance every night.
For sure. And defensively, like we know, okay, these two teams, they're both top 10 in scoring. They're top 5 in rebounding. The interesting thing is that they're 1 and 3 in points in the paint, 3 and 4 in fast break points. Like they get going, right? I think they're both top 5 or top 10 in pace. The last time we played though, the Grizzlies got outscored in the fast break 4-20.
Ooh.
Yeah. Is that normal for the Lakers?
Yeah, I think it's a style that they like to play. I think anytime you can get out and run, you've got guys who are really good in the open floor. A lot of that is LeBron. He likes to push the pace, but there's still others that love that open floor. And I think it's something that if they can play not so much all the time in the half court, it is to their advantage. And we've seen that throughout the course of this season entirely. But that comes with getting stops. And so I think for this team, especially, there's so much in terms of them trying to get on the same page, learn one another, et cetera, as we talk about. If they can first and foremost set that foundation defensively that allows them to get out and run and take advantage, certainly that's something that'll be at the top of their scouting report, I would imagine. But it all comes down to the defense. And that's where you love having a guy like Jared Vanderbilt on your side. You know, you mentioned that Mavs win over the weekend. I said in our post-game show, he was the X factor. No matter what you got from LeBron and AD, he completely turned the complexity of the game in the third quarter. And I think you need to lean into that. And if you do so, it certainly still sets yourself up.
Yeah, and he's had some battles guarding John Morant, obviously not on the Lakers roster. But can you picture him as the John Morant one-on-one matchup tonight?
I can't. Certainly, you know this, it's not one guy alone that can stop John Morant. But the thing that I've loved getting to watch Jared Vanderbilt in these last couple of weeks is like, he wants and loves those challenges, right? And he's a guy that prides himself on being able to guard 1 through 5. He's got that versatility, the length, the athleticism, that motor. And so I think to your point of having that familiarity as well, up against a guy like Ja, the Lakers certainly need to lean into that. But I think for him, it's all about heart and hustle, and he doesn't need the basketball to be effective. And I think that's where he can make his mark, especially starting with a guy like Ja tonight.
Yeah, that's very much like he is like your guys' version of our Dylan Brooks, who's like just like this defensive minded guy who wants to go out and just like play at 100 miles an hour, 100% of their heart at all times. Okay, my very last question. This is just my opinion question then, Allie. If there's one matchup that the rematch would have been Dylan versus LeBron, because I feel like he wanted that. Yeah. However, we're not going to get that tonight. If there's one matchup that you're like, okay, I'm excited to watch this one go down, what would it be?
I'm going to be boring. I'm going to be boring just because I think it's the player in me in a sense. I'm just focused on the Lakers, to be honest with you, because I don't know what this looks like. There's so much newness. I'm waiting for D'Angelo Russell to be back in the lineup. I think certainly with the news of LeBron, that obviously puts a little bit more pressure on that. But what are they going to look like? I think it's the Lakers against the Grizz. I'm going to take the overall matchup, if you will, just from a standpoint of, and I think we're going to find out from the jump, truly what the Lakers are capable of. And I think it's a great test. So I apologize for being boring with this one. But I'm just going to go the Lakers in general and what they look like, what they're going to be like for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was going to be slightly boring too, because I was going to say the bench, because the benches, I think in the last game, the Lakers outscored them just by a few, but they were both in like the high 40s or 50s. But a big part of the Lakers bench was Russell Westbrook, who's obviously not on the team anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see. And obviously the Grizzlies have Luke Kennard now, which is a new face as well. They're a little smaller on their bench because they're without Steven Adams and some of their G League guys, because we have a G League game today as well. So it's going to be interesting. So, well,
having said that too, with the Lakers bench, I could have easily gone that way, but now they're without 2 of their starters. So what does that do to their bench? Who now starts for LeBron? Who now starts or remains the starter? You imagine it's Dennis Schroeder for D'Angelo Russell if he does not play.
Who had a great game last game against the Grizzlies. So
yes. Yep. Absolutely. Certainly capable. The one thing I love about Dennis is whenever one of either LeBron or AD has been absent, he has been able to step up and handle that load and that pressure. He's a guy that can step into that role and thrive. So hopefully we can get that from him certainly tonight.
That's the kind of guy you want like on the bench / subbing in. Allie, thank you. I got my water too. Thank you, Allie, so very much for your time.
Cheers.
And it'll be another good game, I'm sure. So thank you.
Always.
Grizzlies fans, this one, remember, it is early tonight. So get there. It's at 6:30 Central Time. So get to FedEx Forum nice and early. We'll see you there.